can one person build real, playable 3D game in just few days? One that looks good, runs well, optimized. Can it be done using only AI-generated assets? I decided to challenge myself to build a whole 3D platformer game in a unique style no more than in 3 days. Completely solo, using best 3D AIs, my own 3D skills, and fastest shortcuts I figured out over past 6 months, all in one workflow, which I'm gonna show you in today's video, from the idea and concepting to actual playable game in Unreal Engine 5. I'm gonna honestly highlight where AI is useless or where it's actually a huge advantage. Take your snacks, let's get started. It all starts with the idea. Where does idea comes from? Brainstorming with ChatGPT. No, of course not from ChatGPT, but from here. Ideation, taste and stuff, this is all inside you guys. But to shape it, of course, you have ChatGPT, Nano Banana and stuff, and I think that's amazing. I still think it's not replacing your judgment or taste, it replaces the routine. It's your pencil. So as you might guess, of course, my first step starts with ChatGPT, Nano Banana, sometimes it's Claude. So I was going through different ideas. My favorite genre is platformer games, especially 3D platformers. I really like it. I like how worlds can be built. I wanted to do something cool, something that reminds Nintendo, something that reminds games that was playing when I was a kid, but also fun and sort of mature. And I ended up mixing BioShock Infinite with the cat universe. Well, why not? And my early concept art was looking actually very sick. I was thinking, wow, well, we can actually create that cool steampunk universe with all these cat attributes, and man, I mean, that was insane. So the starting point was set. That was fairly the easiest thing. Then I needed to start building parts. And here's where things get complicated. Well, there are several tools that you can automate it, and usually again, ChatGPT help you to prompt out some objects, and then you create object by object. You also need to make sure you like this style, etc. Yeah, you can see it. There was a lot of object extracted because again, when you build up the real game, there are quite a lot of details, and it might seem that it's like a simple location. In fact, there are like up to 50 unique objects, including objects on the background. Also, I had to create the background images, but thanks to AI, that was extremely fast. So here are final reference that I use. For the buildings, there were quite a lot of blocks for the different surfaces, walls, bricks, fences, ladders, and many things like that in different condition. Then for the buildings, a lot of buildings, different variations and stuff, lighthouse, bell, in plenty of things like a book, some market buildings, then a lot of additional objects. And even after I created all of them, at some point you can go back and create some additional assets when you feel you need them. And of course, here are my characters, and here's my main character and my villain. Also some weapons, extremely stylized, and some items for a platformer shooter game. That could be taking a lot, but that's very easy to do with ChatGPT. It helps extract prompts and build up images. And the next step is to create and prepare all these 3D models. And for this right now, my choice is Tripo. Main reason because it's really the best one, especially for low poly generation, according to Top 3D AI Arena, according to my own tests. And for high poly and textures, it's also a top one right now with its latest version 3.1. Moreover, you can also generate images right here using best image models. But my main use case is of course HD model and smart mesh. So smart mesh from single or multi-image allow you to create right away low poly without having high poly model. I mean, I'm really like how the mesh ends up. So just look at this. I mean, you just drop an image and it's almost perfect low poly. I mean, haters gonna hate, but I just drop it to Blender. I do some minor adjustments, sometimes in sake of animation, sometimes just to remove some stuff. But look at this. Here in Tripo as well, when you generated the low poly, then you can go and texture it. And after texturing, you can also add PBR qualities and make it even more. Here's the full cycle, and here's how the character looks like. I think that's amazing. For character, depending how close they will be to the camera, I recommend to build them in parts. That's just for better control and better geometry. The same way I created the villain character, and the result is, look, it is very nice mesh. Especially for my purposes, since my characters will be quite small, I just need them to be optimized, nicely textured, and I mean, that is just insane. This is what actually makes difference for solo developers. I created weapons, all these supplies, all small parts, everything created here, and then exported in Blender. It is not yet 100% done, so we're gonna need to do some more stuff. Now also let me show you some other cool examples that I made, and just so you see the raw output, not processed in Blender anywhere, generated right away. It already looks very nice. And guys, if you want to try out Tripo with all these features, I do have a special promo code for you. And also, if you're gonna use my link in the description, you get extra free credits. This is my honest recommendation, and Tripo is really a top 1 model right now, making it possible to focus on creation instead of refining models. So as I said, some assets might definitely need some additional refinement before we bring it to Unreal Engine. And here you don't need to know all of this. There are a few things that I'm usually checking in Blender. First, I check the mesh for obviously broken stuff. For characters, for example, I check some limbs and stuff to have enough loops to get animated properly. For props, I might actually do some baking from high poly to low poly. So in Tripo, I might create high poly model, then do retopology, bring these boss models here, bake ambient occlusion map, sometimes bake normal map, do texturing in AI, and combine them all together. Another thing is that some maps like emissive map or some property maps, it's very easy to adjust here as well. So if I need some reflective surfaces or metallic surfaces, I can create it here. Quite easy. For emissive map is again also super simple. You just paint on top of planes, unwrap it. It's very optimized and works really well. Again, you just need to know like few simple paint tools in Blender to get it done. As I said, with characters, it might be a little bit more work depending on how close the character will be. Again, if you're creating your main hero, then you definitely need to create it in parts. Make sure you have enough details and stuff. And actually, I have a very good news for you guys. I just dropped my first 3D AI course. I put a lot of effort. I developed it with my team of professional 3D artists. We explored all 3D AI tools and developed the best workflow. We give you 10% of 3D skills and knowledge about best 3D AI tools, so you can achieve 90% of any goal and create your dream game. Specifically, we focus on 3D characters, but same workflow works for props. Props are usually easier. We cover all details, all aspects in very simple words. Take a look. The link will be in the description. This is the most complete course for you guys. Now, in this case, I quickly checked geometry for some artifacts, and then basically I took this guy to Acrylic. Acrylic is my choice right now, especially when I work with Blender. It's pretty accurate because it's Acrylic. You set markers on body, on the hands, you have quite a lot of controls, and then you basically review the result. For most of the cases, it gives very decent results. You can export it directly for Unreal Engine skeleton, but I need to be honest that in 100% of cases, you have to go drop it back to Blender and refine some small stuff. Like for example, on my cat, there's obviously a problem in armpits. Maybe because I did a bad pose, maybe I should to do like more T-pose before I do rigging. But regardless, there's always a small annoying thing that needs to be addressed. And for this one, you really want to know a simple weight painting tools in Blender to address that quickly. It's not a critical problem, can be addressed in like 30 minutes. And I also covered that in details in my 3D course. Just few tools you need to know to easily address it. When I'm happy with weights, it's time to actually export it. And we can and go with FBX. Okay, now it's time to set up game. So first of all, full disclosure that I did not develop the whole game with all the mechanics. I actually found a template that covers the game logic of platformer shooter, right? So it is a 3D platformer shooter. There is a logic around weapons and basic physics that you might need. I thought it's exactly what I needed, and it also was very cheap, around $50, which is I think a very good deal. If you want to check it out, link in the description. Huge kudos to this developer. And pretty much at this stage we're ready to start creating. So unfortunately I don't get recorded the very beginning part, but here you can see where I already start building up some assets, building up some streets. I just dropped all assets that I prepared to Unreal Engine and start create. And do you know, guys, what was the most amazing part of it is that by the time I started to build up the level, I wasn't exhausted that much with creating assets, so I had that creative energy to do very nice concepts. And that means a lot. Before I tried to do anything like that, when you start building up few assets and it takes days or months, you actually forget about everything else, especially what will be the level, what cool stuff you want to build up there, some small streets, secrets, or anything. For example, while creating this level, I thought like, wow, how it could be cool to have this guy reminding Statue of Liberty, but in cat universe. And guys, it took me just 5 minutes to generate that guy and put it here on the background, and look how cool it looks, right? Of course, along the way I was adding some assets on demand, and this is insane. Like, you basically think that you need some objects and you go and create them in 5 minutes, you're going back and you continue building up the level. So this is what I really like about current state of things. You can really focus on creativity. Many professional 3D artists are really frustrated that it takes over like high poly, red topology, texturing and stuff, but honestly that is routine which required a lot of skill before, but it gets automated regardless of what we think. If I'm not gonna tell you about it, someone else will. If we block every AI model in US, in China they will still do that, and if in China they will stop, there are still already open source models, so it will be used widely anyway. And for me, I'm happy that now can actually unleash the creativity. After I build up the level, I of course needed to import the character. That was quite easy because I got right skeleton exported from Akurik, so there was not a big issue, right? So just imported it here, then retargeted some animations and replace it in the blueprint of my template. When I was getting lost, I was actually asking ChatGPT or Claude to help me out, and guys, it's not that difficult. You can actually screen share to ChatGPT and ask questions in real time. How cool is that? It might not be working that fast, but it really helps. And here in template, really, I only needed to adjust how my character holds weapons and stuff because there was quite a unique size, let's say. But eventually I got it working all fine just in less than an hour. How cool is that? Exactly the same thing I did with the rats, which is my enemies. Yeah, pretty much the same stuff. Just set up the material, make sure it holds the weapons right, replace the blueprints, and yeah, we already have the enemy. We can actually, I even tried to play with the rats, and yeah, looks very good. Also, since I got all the assets ready, I had some time to focus on some cool, nice animations, adding some Steam VFX, making some elevators, making some other stuff nice and dynamic. And really, again, my biggest observation was that I got energy to do that stuff, and I got energy to think about it instead of focusing on developing one single 3D model. I remember myself trying to make a game 10 years ago, and that was like so long. Now guys, just in 3 days with a lot of fun, not gonna lie, I created this whole 3D platformer game. So how about we finally go and play this game? And while you guys enjoying the gameplay, I want to share a quote that I heard from Andrew Price, the guy who made that famous donut tutorial. When I was a teenager, I was actually learning by his tutorials. 1 week ago, I saw the presentation he made, also discussing like AI in 3D, because that's huge controversial topic, a lot of hype, a lot of hate. And he actually said one great thing that outlined everything that happens. If you're getting paid for labor, it's most likely to be automated with AI or any other tools. Again, we can see how Blender evolved. Some things that we do in one click in Blender right now was done in hours, and we somehow used to it. So things like retopology, texturing, high poly will be automated. But what will remain is your taste, is your judgment. And he also gave a very nice example. Give one creative task to hundreds of 3D artists and you get hundreds of different results. So guys, I really want to encourage you to create, show your unique style, unique vision, and you're free to use any tool regardless of what people say around. As usual, that was Steph. Like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.